Novel coronavirus. What do you think? Is it just about counting the number of patients and deaths? Just stop for a minute and think about the aftermath of this coronavirus epidemic. After watching the whole video, you will be dumbfounded. All major economies of the world are sure to perceive its highest fall, more or less. Here, we are going to describe and feast of elements to portray the financial situation caused by the coronavirus outbreak. Welcome to Global Triangle, where you will be updated on the most valuable events and outcomes of the whole world. Let's start with the share market plummet. There is a huge hit on Nikkei, Dow Jones and FTSE 100. Here we saw their biggest one-day decline since 1987. This coronavirus is destroying the whole growth before our nose. What do you think? The government might stop the plummet? We have a doubt about that. The S&P 500, one of the most widely followed stock index in USA, and the Europe Stocks 50, the Japan Topix Index, are followed the same plummet. There is a worse scenario since the 2008 financial crisis. If you see the FTSE 100 graph, we have a huge fall first. The worst scenario in coronavirus outbreak is more than the dot-com bubble, the financial crisis in 2008, and in more than Black Monday. And this is all over. Is more than 20% fall. This is devastating. Now come to the unemployment crisis. In United States, the number of people filing for unemployment hit a record high. It is more than 6.6 million and counting. In Australia, unemployment could go as high as 16% amid coronavirus. And it is to say, globally 4 out of 5 people's jobs hit by pandemic. A total of 81% of the global workforce of 3.3 billion people have had their workplace fully or partly closed. Restrictions on the daily life have led to the closure of many companies and the laying off of staffs either permanently or temporarily. Most of the places, the recommended workplace closures rate is so high than the required workplace closure. This is the main cause of protest over America and Europe to open the shutdown. Nearly 200 million people could end up out of work. The outbreak is expected to wipe out 6.7% working hours across the world during the second quarter of 2020. That is equivalent of 195 million full-time workers losing their jobs, 125 million workers in Asia and Pacific, and 24 million Americans will be affected for the cause. The worst hit region is predicted to be the Arab states, with an 8.1% decline in working hours, that is equivalent to 5 million full-time workers. It is the most severe crisis since World War II, according to ILO. Do you think the corona effect will supersede the Great Depression of 1930s? I really want to know that. It adds that the eventual increase in global unemployment during the course of 2020 will depend largely on 2 factors. First, how quickly the world economy recovers in the second half of the year, and second, how effectively policy measures will boost the demand for labors. It is easy to predict that at the end of the year, worldwide unemployment figure will be much higher than an initial ILO projection of 25 million people. Different sectors of the economy have been hit in different ways by the sudden downturn in work. Not surprisingly, with travel at minimum and social lives put on hold, the accommodation and food sectors industries are among those suffering most, along with manufacturing, wholesale and retail, and real estate business. Together, they account for nearly 38% of the global workforce, with 1.25 billion people employed in these industries around the world. The travel industry has been badly damaged. The airlines cutting flights and tourists cancelling business trips and holidays. Governments around the world have introduced travel restrictions to try to contain the virus. More than 100 countries have travel restrictions because of coronavirus. The EU banned travelers from outside the bloc for 30 days in an unprecedented move to seal its border because of the coronavirus crisis. In the USA, the Trump administration has banned travelers from European airports from entering the US. The number of flights globally has taken a huge hit, decreasing in tremendous way. Agriculture is not out of the threat. Like any other industry, agriculture needs labor, transportation and supply. Even country like Italy depends on immigrant workers every year for harvesting their crops. Over 346,000 foreigners from 155 countries are working in Italy's agricultural sector. It is over 30 million days worked, that is equivalent to 26.2% of the total work necessary in Italian fields. And almost half of the foreigners working in agriculture are doing so in 15 provinces. In agriculture districts, immigrant workers are thus a well-integrated part of the economic and social landscape. Due to the coronavirus, there will be a huge lack of labor force in the upcoming months. By any means, if the farmers manage to harvest the crops, they may not manage to send these products to their buyers with proper price. Import-export of agricultural product will be highly disrupted due to the pandemic. Delivery will be slowed down and this may cause a serious issue. This is the list that EU import from the rest of the world. Now, the question is that how EU will import these products, and if they fail to import, what will be the effect on the consumers and the farmers? When a crisis hits, investors often choose less risky investments. Gold is traditionally considered a safe haven for investment in times of uncertainty. But even the price of gold tumbled briefly in March as investors were fearful about the global recession. As the industries are closed, travel banned and farming halted, there is a huge fall down in car sellings and oil price. The oil price had already been affected by a row between OPEC and Russia, and coronavirus has driven the price more further. Price of oil has been steadily falling across the globe. The growth of the world economy is related to the whole economical growth. If the economy is growing, it generally means more wealth and more new jobs. It is measured by looking at the percentage change in gross domestic products or the value of goods and services produced, typically over 3 months or a year. This year, due to the coronavirus outbreak, the regular growth of the world is halted. Now the forecasted growth is just 2.4% in 2020, down from 2.9% in November. It also said that longer-lasting and more intensive outbreak could halve growth to 1.5% in 2020, as the factories suspended their activity and workers stay at home to try to contain the virus. We saw a huge fall of China and G20 in the GDP, but a slight fall of world economy and Euro area. It is also forecast that 5 countries may face famine very shortly. There are Yemen, DR Congo, and Venezuela, South Sudan, and Afghanistan. We will highly appreciate any comment on this topic, and if you want to know any other information about this matter, please let us know. And again, if you like our video, please subscribe the channel.